special day as we're celebrating the holiday season and starting our day with a delightful family tradition, picking the perfect Christmas tree. Now that we have our beautiful tree, it's time to head back home and start decorating. This is where the magic happens. But before we dive into the full Christmas spirit, let's take a moment to appreciate nature's artistry. I'll be doing a unique art study today, a graphite and watercolor Pinecone on the same page. This is a fantastic way to explore the world of realistic painting. Starting using pencil F, or it can be HB, really transparently and lightly I apply layer of graphite over whole area of the Pinecone. So we have a tone, because when we look at the reference, even the lightest parts are not so light as the background of the paper. Now I'm using flat synthetic brush and also very lightly smooth the applied graphite layer. I'm not using paper blending tool. It looks like paper pencil. It can smudge too much and create dirty looking areas. Brush is the best tool for this. And after that, I'm taking 2B, and majority of this work I will be doing with 2B. Only at the end I will use 3B pencil. And starting with each section separately, I'm adding shadow, starting from the darkest part that I see in the reference, and carefully tone apply graphite. Again, I'm not squeezing too hard, I'm not pushing too hard, very lightly. I will be applying quite a few layers of graphite to cover and to get this intensity that we see in the reference. But for now, I'm starting from the shadow very lightly and building up my layers. And take a closer look how I separate each section. I'm not outlining, I'm not creating dark outlines around each part of this Pinecone. I'm separating each section with the shadow area. And that is the best way how you can make something flat look realistic on a paper surface. By outlining, we are not giving more realistic and natural look, but working with tonal values, with the shadow area of each section, we are giving it more natural and realistic look. Key is here to study reference really accurately because all the information is there, and I apply graphite using 2B pencil very lightly, not pushing too hard, and each section separately. In this much shorter video, I'm showing you the technique and approach, what I use. Full tutorial is available on my Patreon. Links are here and also in description underneath this video. To get this Pinecone look realistic, it took me more than 1 hour to finish, and still there can be done more work even after 1 hour of work. Now I'm taking 3B, which is even softer pencil, and really carefully build contrast in the shadow area where I see from the reference that I need more darkness, more contrast. And contrast is helping us to make things even more three-dimensional, more realistic. And again, I'm not outlining, I'm building layers of shadow, building contrast carefully, each section separately, constantly checking with reference what is there. We don't need to think about, we don't need to imagine something. We have a reference photo which is helping us and giving all the information that we need. After many layers of graphite, I'm taking again synthetic flat brush, and carefully, without hard pushing, without any force, I'm giving a smoother look, not completely blending. And take a closer look how I do to each section individually. And with eraser pencil, which is a really thin eraser, I'm erasing some highlights, details that I see in the reference photo. Maybe somewhere you toned a little bit too much. The beauty of graphite study, you can erase any mistake you made. This is a wonderful way to study realistic painting, because by doing graphite study, you have a room for improvement. You can erase, you can redo. You don't need to think about water control, which color tone are you using, just study of the reference. And now with mechanical pencil 0.3, I'm adding final touches, final details, some woody texture to each segment and to Pinecone in general, to make it detailed, more crispier where it is required. Middle part of each section has a darker line. I can add those details. And this is the point where you can work on and on. Realistic results take time and patience. Second Pinecone will be done with watercolors, mostly using lemon yellow, alizarin crimson, and perylene green watercolor pigments. Now doing the same Pinecone, and I'm doing it on the same paper, but with watercolors. Applying water with round synthetic brush and brown watercolor mix very transparently, the same as with graphite. I apply to the whole surface of the Pinecone transparently and lightly, giving a tone even to the lightest part of this Pinecone. And my mix consists of lemon yellow, alizarin crimson, and perylene green, diluted with water. As the surface has dried, I'm taking fine tip synthetic brush and apply watercolor mix, starting from the shadow, just the same as we did for the graphite study. Only here you need to think about color tone, water ratio, but technique is very, very similar. Main thing is to look at your reference. All the details are there. Don't outline each section, but add shadow areas. Working on each section separately, giving attention. And watercolors, don't allow you to make some major mistakes. Like with the graphite, you can erase. Here you need to think about lighter parts, leaving them unpainted, and building layers gradually, transparently. Also, I'm not creating super smooth surface. I want to have this wood texture visible, and in the reference I also don't see a super smooth layer of surface. Working with finer tip brush and each section separately. As I already did this Pinecone with graphite, I'm already familiar with the subject. I know where the shadow are, where maybe some details, but I'm still constantly checking with reference. And the more I look, the more I start to notice. That's how our eyesight is working. We need to look to notice things. And first, I'm building the background layer, background color for these sections, on which later I will add some more crispier details of wood texture, some darker lines, some crispier details. Now I need to add tonal values to separate each section. With finer tip brush, using darker watercolor mix of lemon yellow, pearl violet, and pearl green, and painting with the very tip of the brush. These middle lines are very crisp and thin. We don't want to make them super thick. You can practice these lines on a separate paper until you feel greater confidence. Now the first darker layers are done, and I am applying next layers, building contrast, building darker parts in the shadow. This is also a shorter version of this Pinecone painting. Full tutorial is available on my Patreon. More contrast with darker watercolor mix. I'm adding a little bit saturated watercolor mix towards the finishing part. When I see all tonal values, each section is separated, I can see lights and darks, and now I feel greater confidence with adding darker watercolor mix, but still not too saturated, so that my layers are transparent and visible through. As I'm painting transparently, I can paint on and on, adding only greater amount of details, building contrast, and making this Pinecone look more and more realistic. There are so many details on each section. To get it super realistic, it really would take many hours. This tutorial in full took a little bit over 1 hour, just enough for me to show you my approach, my technique of realistic botanical painting. If you want to push yourself a little bit more to hyper-realistic, you need to work more. You need to push your boundaries and give extra attention, extra touch to your painting process. Still painting with the tip of the brush, carefully working around each section, adding layers, correcting maybe edges, making them more crisper, and also adding wood texture to this Pinecone to make it more natural, more realistic. This is a wonderful exercise for understanding tonal values, how to build realistic, and teaching you observation skills. Thank you. I really enjoyed this exercise and learned a lot. And there you have it, our Christmas day filled with family fun and artistic exploration. Remember, art is all about appreciating the process, just like the process of turning our home into a festive wonderland. This Pinecone can be easily made into Christmas artwork by framing it and placing in your home. I hope this video inspires you to embrace the holiday season with your loved ones and find creative ways to express yourself through art. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel for more art-related content.